So we'll do one more in that vein because I think I went through all these, and this is a fraction of them, of apartments that I have tried to rent. So right now, and I've tried to hold my own, I've been living on $10,000 a year. When I was put on the street, it was $700. $700 when I was making upwards of $50,000 as a professional. Okay? I was in line to be director of communications. Okay? So I was put on the street with $700. It was outrageous to do that to someone. So of course I was homeless. I was basically living on about $10,000 a year. I think it was $9,800 when you calculate it. When it actually, and I have continued to live on that until recently when I was 59 and a half, I got a little bit of this, I don't even know, it's not even a settlement. It's not even, don't get on my page and say you got a settlement, because that's not even what this is, and I didn't even sign it, because it was so outrageous. It's modern slavery, basically, to do this to someone, certainly with the assets I had. But what I want to talk about is within 2 months' time now, I am in debt now, or I owe almost $5,000. I gave these people $2,000 here. I get in a couple hours later. There's not a working refrigerator, and I went through some of the other things. This Patrick Flanagan now, I guess he's not going to give me my security back, even though he said he would. There's been no damage. I don't know. Landlords out there don't understand that, security is basically that there's no damages. You don't use this to punish the person for telling their story. Okay. If more of us told our story, then maybe these people wouldn't get away with this kind of stuff, because now I have to reach out to small claims court to try to get my $1,000 back, which isn't cheap. And another, I don't know, these people are talking about you're supposed to pay 2 months rent if you break the lease. I didn't break the lease. It started on the 1st. Seems to me you should have a couple hours to come in here and look around. Certainly because I applied for one studio. They called me on the phone. They said I didn't qualify for that because it was 3 times the rent. They said they had another studio. I looked at that studio. It was downstairs. I didn't particularly like walking 3 flights up. And then he said, well, that studio fell through. You'll have to take the other one. He said you could take the other one. So I said, okay. So when I got in here right away, things were wrong. Okay. So I'm doing them a courtesy by saying, I can't stay here a year if this is what's going on. So anyway, I'm not using this video to talk about that. But so you're living on $10,000, a month, or excuse me, a year, and then you try to get housing. Okay. It's very easily to get into debt, and it's very easy with people in the middle class, with the jobs they have now, with mortgages and food and rent and daycare and some of these other matters. And we see people speaking out all the time, which is why I started my channel to talk about things. And certainly with all the court, this is legal abuse. Every single one of these cops were called, cops, sheriffs, cops. And then recently, again, at the YWCA, involvement with cops because I was threatened with bodily harm. There were different incidences with excrement and on and on and on. Again, 5 times over on State Street. 5 times the cops were there, okay? Cops were threatened on Main Street. Cops were threatened. Oh, there was a wellness check on North Main. Oh, yes, they threatened all these wellness checks. And went on and on about that. So that's part of the scam. They make up stuff, they get the cops called, and then they keep your rent and security. Okay. And that's happened repeatedly. So it's very easy for a woman to fall into debt, to rack up these bills. And certainly with some of the other places on Ridge Road, these aren't legal residences. When you put an apartment or a room, you rent a room and you get into someone's house, which is the worst thing. I don't recommend it because nothing's legal. You can't get the mail. They're going through your mail. That was another big thing with the house on Ridge Road, the in-law apartment, they called it. Your internet, sometimes you're forced to say, you can go through ours. Here's the password. That's not safe. So there's a lot of things concerning when you move into a room in somebody's house. I still have this man from Perth, David Belfont, and you can see the videos there where this man continually stalked me in a parking lot and was menacing me, and the police did nothing because he kept telling everybody I was his girlfriend. And I can go through his story. It was pretty bad. He approached me at McDonald's with other men, and it said he had a room. Okay, so he seemed to check out. I went to a church dinner. He seemed to be all right. Everybody recommended what a nice guy he was. He looked a little suspicious. I get in there and right away I'm his girlfriend, and he'd already been keeping 2 other women there, which I complained about to the sheriffs. But they thought that was hilarious too, telling dispatch that I was his girlfriend. And then I couldn't get rid of this guy. He was menacing me continuously, and he still does because he's getting away with it. So I'll get more into talking about these rooms and places to rent, and certainly all the scams surrounding the storage unit. And we can get more into that because right away it's put your stuff in a storage unit, go to a hotel. I have spent, I can't even tell you how much on hotels and gotten scammed, the storage unit, and different other facets that intersect this. So it's very easy to fall into debt or not have money or find yourself in a precarious, horrible situation because you can't afford this rent. And certainly when judges looked at my case, divorce law isn't complicated. Once again, you divide things and you give each party their assets. And that's not what's done in this case. And it continued to be a joke from the beginning, and it continues to be a joke about prostitution. So I will continue to talk about it. So yeah, right now, potentially about $5,000. And I still don't have an affordable, safe place to live. Be safe out there, guys.